Hmm. Mariners win 9-8. They improved to 50-48 on the season, and they've taken both games against the Blue Jays in this massive, massive series. I'm going to try doing this a little bit different today. I'm going to go through the scoring plays and just kind of talk about. We'll have still of an overall recap, but like just kind of breaking stuff down a little differently. So in the third inning, Cal Raleigh, who had a monster game, homers to right center, pitched right at that knees point where he can drive the baseball with the best of them. It was huge, huge to give this team a 1-0 lead. Dylan Moore homers on the next. Let's be honest, Dylan Moore's homer was a guess. It was a guess, but he guessed right. He guessed right, and he just drives the baseball right off the foul pole. I believe it was off the foul pole. I was actually kind of in between things right when that happened, but it looked like it went off that pole. There was no pole for Julio Rodriguez's homer. He smoked that baseball. And look, Gaussman, I think, was actually really good in this game outside of 4 homers. And that's what power can do for you, folks. That's what power can do. And it was so great to see those 3 guys. Moore has been terrible this year. Raleigh's been inconsistent. Julio's been inconsistent with the bat as well, obviously. But you see what can happen. 4th and 5th inning, a lot of stuff happens. Chapman singles to center. Vlad scores. I have to admit, if Julio would have made a better throw there, I think they would have gotten Vladdy. It would have had to have been a perfect throw, I think, maybe. It was nowhere close to a perfect throw, but they had a shot. And then in the 5th, Logan Gilbert just didn't have it. Kiermaier homers, Belt homers with George Springer on, Vladdy homers. It was interesting. That's the first time in a game that Vladimir Guerrero has homered in T-Mobile Park. That surprised me. Just because he's homered so many places. And so let's just talk about Logan Gilbert tonight. I think there were some flashes of real good. There were some real bad moments too. And this is my concern with Gilbert is can he put it together for more than a couple starts in a row? And he'd been good in July. It's worth pointing out that July is a little misleading because we had basically a week of not playing, but for the most part, he was good in July. But there are just too many of these. And if a lot of people like to ask me, which one of the starters are you trading? Which one of the starters are you trading if you're trading? It's Gilbert. And it's Gilbert not as an insult to him, it's compliment to the other guys. I would probably trade Woo over him as well, but Woo's not going to get you as much. So the reason why I would trade Logan Gilbert, and again, I'm not saying just trade Logan Gilbert for the sake of trading Logan Gilbert. Not even close. Gilbert is the one that I would consider moving because he gives you the best combination of I can get something real nice and shiny for him, and he's the one that I feel between him and Kirby and even Miller, the more I'm not quite sure this ever becomes an ace. There's risk for trading him for sure. You better get something real good that helps you now and can help you in the past and help you in the future. Hard to get people who can help you in the past. But he would be the name that I would trade. And he just out the first 3 innings, pretty darn good. Those last 2 innings are examples of how much better he needs to get. In the 5th, Cal Raleigh. How great to see a multi-homer from this guy. Game from this guy. I mean, he just scorched that baseball. And they need it. And it's worth pointing out, Big Dumper owns Toronto. Big Dumper, we might have to call him Big like Drake or something. He owns Toronto. It's crazy how good he's been against the Blue Jays. Don't get me wrong, he's been good against a lot of teams. But Toronto, my goodness gracious. So that makes it 5-4. 7th inning, Matt Brash comes in. Okay, so first of all, Matt Brash comes in to finish off the 6th and does a really nice job. 7th inning, Brash issues a leadoff walk to Brandon Belt. I have to give a ton of credit to Brandon Belt. That's one of the best, I know it's technically plate appearance, but one of the best at bats I've seen this year from anybody. Fouls off a ton of 98-mile-per-hour pitches that were well located. I think that the ball four might have been a strike. Sure looked pretty darn close, but I'm going to give Belt a ton of credit there. But it's also an example of, as good as Brash has been for most of the year, you got to get the command a little better in order for him to be an elite reliever. He's already a very good reliever, but in order for him to be a great reliever, he's got to get ahead a little more. And then yeah, I'm certainly not going to complain about finishing hitters off. Look at that dude's strikeout rate. It's insane. Brandon Belt put together a good at bat. Then he gives up a grounder to Vladdy. That was basically a swinging bunt. Unfortunately, can't get the lead runner there. And then Dalton Varsho singles to center to score Belts. And look, it wasn't a terrible pitch, but it was self-inflicted damage. Credit to Belt, but got to throw more strikes. And then Alejandro Kirk, who I believe had 4 hits in this game, singles to right. You see Hernandez charging the baseball, getting it ready to make that play, and it goes right under his glove. And Kirk scores. Excuse me, Dalton Varsho scores from first base. A couple things I want to talk about here. First of all, that ends up being an earned run for Brash. What? ERA is such a flawed stat. And that's a prime example of it. Prime example of it. That run should be unearned and then some. There's no way Varsho scores without that error. Second, on replay, that was a much tougher play than I thought. I thought that was just Teoscar taking his eye off the ball and it rolling. No, that thing was breaking. I joked on Twitter that looked like one of the greens that they're playing at the Open Championship right now. That ball slid right through. Very, very misleading play. I thought it was just a flat-out grounder that everybody should make. And yes, he should make the play, don't get me wrong, and we'll talk about that in a second. But it was more difficult than it looked. Third, doesn't matter because you just got to get in front of that baseball. There's no shot of you getting Dalton Varsho at third base. He's one of the fastest players in baseball. You had zero shot. Teoscar, you just have to get in front of that thing. I get that what you're doing, you're charging, you're hoping to make that throw to third base and get the big out. You had no shot. You have to know the situation there. And it almost cost the Mariners dearly. But it didn't, thankfully. We'll talk about that in a second. And we'll talk about some sweet, sweet redemption. 7-4. And by the way, it's worth pointing out that happened with, why can't I think of who was in the game at that time? Oh, Isaiah Campbell. I thought that usage was weird. It worked out. Talk about another usage thing in a little bit. Mariners answer back, and oh boy, do they ever answer back in the 7th inning. France gets hit. I don't remember how the next runner gets on. I think Moore walked or got hit. It doesn't really matter. You got first and second. Colton Wong comes up with a massive hit to score Ty France and get Moore to third. Oh, I remember now. Okay, let's rewind just a little bit. I'm trying something new out, folks. Give me a break. France gets hit, as he does quite often. 19th time this year. That is insane. And then, after Riley does get out, Moore doubles into the gap. I will say, just real quick, I probably would have had a pinch runner for France in that situation because a fast runner scores on that play. And Ty France is the opposite of fast. Just a little nitpick there. I get that there's still a couple more at bats and maybe you want France to hit again, but I would have used a pinch runner there. It doesn't matter because Colton Wong stings a baseball. It looked like Moore probably could have scored the tying run, but I understood Acta playing it safe and leaving Moore there. And that scores a run to make it 7-5. JP Cropper doubles to score Moore and Wong. I had not a debate. I was talking to a buddy on Twitter about this. Vladdy probably should make that play. He probably should make that play. It was tough, though. And Crawford hit it relatively hard. It was 81 mile per hour exit velocity, but he got out in front of it and just a good piece of hitting. Just ties the game at 7-7. Julio gets hit. Suarez does not get the job done, but Teoscar Hernandez doubles in 2 runs to make it 9-7. It's so cool to see what Teoscar has done during this series, man. I know I was frustrated by that error. You have to. Teoscar might be Spanish for bitter with the better. I'll have to look that up because you have so many good things that happen with the bad. And honestly, there's probably been a little more bad than good this year, just a little bit. But there's been plenty of good, and that's as good as it gets. 9-7. Andre Munoz comes in, does the job in the 8th. The Mariners can't get anything. And then the 9th happens, and we can just talk about this. Justin Topa does not give up a lot of hard contact, but he gives up a couple of runners. Kevin Biggio singles to center to score Matt Chapman. It's 9-8. Runners on first and third with 1 out. Julio makes not a great catch. He makes the catch. Makes a good throw to home, and it was massive because Julio's reputation keeps that runner from scoring. It wasn't a great throw. It certainly would have got him. It was way too shallow. But it helps to have that reputation. It certainly helps to have that reputation. And then in the bottom, with 2 outs, they get the out. Okay. A lot of you asked this question to me on Twitter about this. And Justin Topa was not great tonight. Wasn't terrible. It was just a lot of contact that didn't work out. A lot of soft contact. A lot of you asked why not go for Munoz for a second inning. So Paul Stewald clearly not available. And that's totally understandable. Pitched in back-to-back games, thrown like 37 pitches over the last 2 games, something along those lines. I have no problem with not using him. I probably would have gone to Munoz for a second inning. I get they're being careful. He threw 13 pitches. It's a massive game. I would have used him for a second inning. Justin Topa has been really good this year. Justin Topa is not Andres Munoz. Literally, figuratively, everything. I would have gone to him for a second inning. I think that one could have bit them in the you know what. I understand the decision, wanting to keep Munoz fresh, because Munoz might be available tomorrow. Sewald certainly is available tomorrow. I think I would have gone to him for a second inning. Nitpicking, perhaps, but I get to with a 2-run lead. Maybe you're a little more comfortable going with Topa compared to a 1-run lead. But again, Topa's been great this year. It's been a while since he's given up an earned run, I think. I would have preferred to see that. Okay, so we got the recap done, and that was 15 minutes. So I have to go a little quicker if I'm going to use this format going forward. But let's talk about some positives and negatives. The negatives are Suarez really struggled today. It's understandable. He's been so good lately. Mike Ford really struggled. Ty France was not good. Pitching wise, we talked about Gilbert. Definitely not his best outing or anything close. It's crazy that we had 2 3-homer innings in this game, by the way. That's insane. The ball is starting to fly out of Safeco again, and I'm going to not correct that. The ball is jumping, and that's great. Or should be anyway. I'm not putting Matt Brash as a negative today. I mean, the walk hurt. The walk certainly hurt. And then the single. I thought he was fine. Like we said, we've got to see more consistent strikes. But I'm giving credit to Brandon Belt. That's one of the best at bats I've seen this year. Maybe the best. Kudos to him. And Brash has been so good, especially lately, that it's hard to complain too much. Did like they used him for multiple innings, by the way. Wonder if we may not see that again for a while after, it didn't go great. Still insane that one of those runs isn't unearned, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Matters to Brash, I'm sure, but a ton of positives in this game. JP Crawford played a fantastic game. A couple of big hits, really nice defensive play. Nice game from Julio. Great to see him drive the baseball. I mean, he crushed that thing. And Big Dumper. I know this year hasn't been quite the year we were hoping for this year. But you see, that guy's going to be a really good catcher for a long time. One of the best draft picks that the Mariners have made in a long time. I was a big fan of him coming out of FSU. You can search my Twitter history. You'll find it. He's been better than expected. If you just judge his batting average, you're making a mistake. Nice to see Dylan Moore drive the baseball, even if one of those home runs looked like just a complete guess. I don't care. And good for Colton Wong. Now, I forgot to mention this. Wong not only gets that hit, he also steals second base. First stolen base from him this year, which boggled my mind. I know he hasn't been on base a whole heck of a lot. But to have that be his first stolen base, that's crazy. And it was big because he doesn't score from first on that play. Good for you, Colton Wong. The other couple of bats were bad again. But good for you, Colton Wong. Mainly, I just want to say what an awesome baseball game this was. Both nights, fantastic baseball games. And I joked about this on Twitter, but it's fitting that Taylor Swift is here tonight because I don't know about you, but that game had me feeling like 22. And what I mean by that, for those of you who are not hip, that game felt like a last year win. Maybe more than any game that I can think of. You have to give a ton of credit to the players in this one. You should always give credit to the players, of course, but zero quit. Zero quit. Fall down 3 runs. Nothing going right outside of after that inning where you hit 3 homers, pretty much nothing went right. And you put together another massive inning with the bottom of your lineup doing it too. Up until Teoscar with the 2-run double. That was 2022. And that is a high compliment because last year was a lot of fun. I'm pumped. You saw me Tiger fist clench beginning of this thing. I'm pumped. This is fun. This is what I prefer. Yeah, should be obvious, but this is so much fun. This series has been a blast. And it's a dang shame they didn't play better in the first 2 series of this homestand. Because what are we talking about if they can win one of those series against Minnesota and Detroit? Mm. But we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on the positivity. With one exception, Email Jimenez, I hope you have a wonderful life and never call a baseball game again. Holy crap, you suck. That was unbearably bad on both sides. For the Mariners and for the Blue Jays, the strike zone tonight was pathetic and unacceptably bad. I mean, it wasn't just missing calls, it was having no idea what the heck was a strike tonight. Unacceptable. Give me the ABS system now. I cannot deal with this. I mean, I can. I don't want to. I shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. The players shouldn't have to. The managers shouldn't have to. It's there. These guys stink. It's not all their fault. It's super hard. It's a tough job. But they make it look so much worse, and there's no accountability. I thought I was done yelling about umpires, and then that happened. Tonight was awful. And if the Mariners would have lost this game tonight, it wouldn't have been the umpire's fault. It wouldn't have been his fault. Because it was bad on both sides. But I think I probably would have spent 15 minutes yelling about it again. Holy crap. Get better or get the necessary tools to make this not a problem. And the first part isn't happening. Oh my goodness gracious. Just some of the worst strike calls I've seen in so long. And that's saying something, folks. Ugh. Anyway, great win. Great win. And now let's go get a sweep. Let's go get a sweep to put the icing on this cake. Got Brian Wu against Alek Manoah. You're going to look at Alek Manoah's numbers and think that this is going to be advantage Mariners. Maybe. He had one really good start coming back before the break against Detroit. He had one awful start against the Padres on Tuesday. I don't know what to expect from Alek Manoah. Super talented, legitimate Cy Young candidate last year. Pitched well against the Mariners in that playoff game outside of the first inning. I don't know what to expect from him. I don't know what to expect from Brian Wu. Wu was pretty bad last time out against the Twins. If you were a betting person, and I am not promoting betting on this website unless they're paying me to, just being honest with you. If I would, the over sounds pretty good. I don't know what it is. I don't care what it is. But if you're a gambling website that wants to sponsor the show, we can talk about it. Sorry, I need the money. What a great win. What a fun baseball game. This would be a super fun one for a neutral party. Like if you weren't a Mariner fan or a Blue Jay fan, this would be the game you'd have on. Awesome game between two fun baseball teams. Frustrating baseball teams, but fun. That was fun. Give you a second Tiger pump there. You can follow me on Twitter at Crawford_MILB, but most importantly, please hit like, please hit subscribe. We're down the stretch of this thing. It'd be so awesome if I could reach that 1,000 subscriber mark by the time the season's over. It's asking a lot. It's asking a lot. I need like 430 or something like that. But it's growing, and I'm not completely dismissing it. Not completely dismissing it. I know it takes a lot of people a lot longer than this to get to this mark, and I'm very, very thankful to those of you who have. I'll probably have another giveaway to maybe incentivize you guys to get to that 800 mark or maybe the 1,000 mark. Might be something really good. I'm thinking about it. I'm really thinking about it. Fun. Tell me how much fun you had watching this baseball game, unless you're a Blue Jays fan. And I love you, but you probably didn't have as much fun as we did.